For more than 100 years, First Choice Bank has provided dedicated community banking to North Mississippi. The banking products and services you need when you need them. At First Choice, you're our priority. Make First Choice your choice for banking.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. We knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.
1 in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Well, welcome back to the Room to Room Weather Center and Mississippi Live Weather at 5. I'm meteorologist Caleb Edelblut, and I know I'm usually y'all's weekend meteorologist, but it's Friday night. It's Friday evening. Let's get the weekend started now. It's going to be a pretty active Friday, whether that's weather-related with this cold front coming in or Friday night lights and those football games. Will be a jam-packed night here and the Mississippi Live Weather at 5. But speaking of that, a severe thunderstorm watch is already in effect. This cold front that we've been tracking the past few days, moving a little bit ahead of schedule based off what those models have projected. So something that we're going to talk about here in this broadcast and pretty much for the next few hours as we continue into our Friday evening. Matt will join us from the game of the week out in Baldwin. So Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon ready to talk about those conditions and what's going out there in Baldwin, especially with that watch already in effect. And that cold front is what we've been talking about. That will bring us that great football weather. We just kind of got to get through what's going on first with those storms and just show what's going on. So Matt's out there right now. I know we're under that severe thunderstorm watch, but you're looking pretty dry right now. So what are those conditions looking like?
We're still waiting for things to kind of ratchet up. We do expect that will happen here in the next few hours. You can see behind me some of the clouds, the mix of clouds. I think one thing that kind of works to our favor is I can tilt this back enough. You see there's kind of a couple different layers there. The lower clouds you see, but also that kind of thinner variety. See if I can get my pointing fingers the right direction there. Right there. What's kind of in the middle. And that haze of high clouds has kind of helped limit instability somewhat, but we do have this severe thunderstorm watch that's been issued for locations in Prentiss County, southern Prentiss County, where we're at right now, extending up toward locations around Ripley, back up toward Corinth and Tishomingo County. Now, it is possible that a few thunderstorms could produce some damaging wind gusts, perhaps some hailstones. I don't think that's every thunderstorm, but will we potentially have some delays and some issues for some of our Friday night football games? Yes. You referenced it a minute ago. We're at our Game of the Week location up here in Baldwin. Boonville making the trip here into town for this game. Of course, the stand's still empty at this point here, with the exception of this guy who's next to me, our meteorologist, Gabe Maynard. Well, you were already taller than me anyway. Yeah, come down a bleacher. Maybe you go down one more there. Hey, Game of the Week location, we'll be talking. I was just joking about that. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But, it is what it is. This is a huge rivalry, is it not?
I mean, huge is an understatement because what we have is the Skunk Bowl. And Skunk Bowl, it's significant in its own right because back in 2012, on this very field, we did have a skunk that ran from the Baldwin sideline through the cheerleaders, through the fans, just disrupted some things. And that's when madness ensued afterwards. I mean, it was madness with the skunk. Yeah. But then the game started to experience a shift, an 85-yard pick six for the Boonville Blue Devils to come back and defeat Baldwin that game back in 2012. But now, series 73 games later, all even, 35 and 35 and 3 is the record.
So we'll talk more about, of course, all those details in a minute, but hoping that it doesn't become a soggy Skunk Bowl tonight.
Fingers crossed, and we don't want any delays. That's what we're watching here in Prentiss County, is just kind of how that movement starts to shift more into Prentiss County, Alcorn County, Tishomingo County, like you mentioned a moment ago.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about that here from Prentiss County in a few minutes, but as you mentioned, Gabe, as well as, Caleb, we do have this chance for some thunderstorms, could cause some issues as far as concerned. Caleb, we are, of course, looking near the Tennessee state line. A few thunderstorms out there at this point. We'll track those with you in a minute. We'll also come up here in a few minutes, have a little bit more on tonight's matchup and a special report from a new person here at Mississippi Live Weather that might be someone that many of you recognize. That's coming up as we expand more into sports in a few minutes. Caleb?
Well, thank you, Chief Meteorologist Matt Laubon and Meteorologist Gabe Maynor. Appreciate y'all giving us all these updated information, especially for this active Friday that we're going to continue to have. And little tease to that special guest coming in. You got to stick around for this forecast. But coming back to here in the Room to Room Weather Center, we want to show kind of what's happening across our area. I know there's a little tower here, but wanted to show you. This is our Tupelo Sky Cam showing that overcast sky. But Matt and Gabe, they're right in between here out in Baldwin. This is a camera we wanted to show just to show you what those conditions are pretty much as we continue into those Friday night hours. But looking at the first 12, it's pretty active. You can see those rain chances pretty much occurring across the entire graphic here. 10% around 6 o'clock, 30% by 9, especially as we're wrapping up those football games, maybe a little bit ahead of schedule. So hopefully no delays will occur, but something that we're going to continue to monitor here at Mississippi Live Weather at 5. Midnight, still 30%. Those rain chances pretty much continuing into the evening hours. 3 o'clock, we can see a slight decrease, a little break. That's just because that's that first batch of prefrontal activity, but I'm covering it up. 6 o'clock, you can already see those rain chances start to go up again, and this time highest chances that we can see on this graphic. That's when that frontal kind of line and storms start moving in. But as I mentioned earlier, Doppler radar, you can see that severe thunderstorm watch in effect. It's kind of clipping the start of our viewing area in North Mississippi, pretty much Tippah, Alcorn, Prentiss, Tishomingo County for North Mississippi, and you're going to kind of see how that matches with our severe weather risk. For North Mississippi, however, we're staying pretty dry. This is not what's going to continue into those evening hours, but for right now, we're dry. You can see those rain chances pretty much along the Tennessee-Mississippi state line, sticking more into Tennessee. So not affecting us right now. You can see a warned thunderstorm out there north of Savannah, but no severe warnings as of yet in North Mississippi, and we're going to continue to hopefully keep that trend going into the rest of the evening. But as I mentioned, that where that watch was kind of clipping into North Mississippi, you could see that severe weather risk got a little bit elevated from the last time y'all saw us in the evening, or y'all may have gotten a sneak peek of it earlier today with our meteorologist Maggie McCauley, showing that a slight level 2 risk has entered North Mississippi, affecting those in Tippah, Elkhorn, Prentiss, and Tishomingo County. But for most of North Mississippi, we are staying in that level 1 risk. Of course, these models fluctuate, change all the time with that arrival time. And so even if you're not in the yellow, maybe that can still affect us and just expand a little bit. But that is the latest update, something that you want to make sure to keep monitoring here with us at Mississippi Live Weather. Now, I wanted to show this just to show you that it's been a hot day. We've been spoiled with these cooler below average temperatures, but today has not felt that way. We're back to Friday night football, but this time with more muggy conditions. You can see our temperatures have gone up, but that cold front, I'm excited to show this graphic tomorrow, just showing the plummet that we are going to see. We just got to get through those rain chances first. And that's what we're about to discuss. Futurecast showing where those stronger cells are starting. You can see pretty much matches with that almost slight risk and the severe thunderstorm watch area. So some stronger cells north of North Mississippi into Tennessee, but that cold front, that will be our weather maker as we continue into our Friday evening and even into our Saturday as well. That front will start pushing in our area, and you can see it's bringing a lot of prefrontal activity. There's going to be a lot of activity behind it that I will discuss in just a second, but there is a big cluster of showers. Of course, this is a model. These change all the time. It's predicting where you can see these chances. It's not saying specifically these areas are going to get it at 10:30. So when we're wrapping up football games, you can see this is the area to look out for. So I know Starkville has a game in West Point. Y'all are looking pretty dry, but if this shifts south just a little bit, y'all could see a soggy end to y'all's high school Friday night game. Just something that we're going to continue to monitor, showing that some of these could be severe and warned, but we're looking more towards a wind threat, a hail threat. Not looking much towards tornado, still trying to avoid those at all costs, but something that we will continue to monitor the entire evening as we continue into our Friday night. That cold front is going to continue pushing into North Mississippi, and you can see, there we go. It's shifting into West Point, but more 12:30 towards around midnight. But since this model is kind of a little bit behind, that could be maybe 11:30. So something you want to continue monitoring here. But for most of North Mississippi, especially on the western side, staying dry as of now. That front will continue pushing on through, but there we go. This is where that second batch main event, you could say, with this cold front will start pushing into North Mississippi. This is at 3:30 in the morning, and it will start pushing into Mississippi around, this is saying around 5 in the morning. Of course, this is something that will update as we continue into the 6 o'clock broadcast, the 10 o'clock broadcast. So for those wanting a lazy start to your Saturday, might have an unexpected alarm clock, and that will be set for some thunder that you could hear, some thunderstorms affecting those. But still, we would love a rainy, lazy start just because of this dry season we're in. Those storms are going to push into North Mississippi and still continue pushing throughout the rest of your morning. This is at 9 a.m. Still a little bit more disorganized, but still some strong cluster of storms will continue to affect us in North Mississippi. But if you look at this, we're all getting rain. So this is a best case scenario as far as our dry season. We don't want any of these stronger storms, but for those crops, those plants that have been needing those rain chances, this is the day to get it before we return back to those drier conditions here. And I wanted to show these outlook. This is the temperature outlook. They're like, Caleb, there's a cold front coming through. Why is it saying that we're average for our temperature outlook? This will plummet our temperatures into tomorrow, into Sunday, but we're still going to warm back up just with that drier air and not many chances of rainfall within the coming few days. So we are still sticking around average. We got a little bit spoiled, as I mentioned earlier, with those below average temperatures, but it's just something to keep in mind. And especially this with our precipitation outlook, we will be very dry. It's just dry season. So this cold front will be our best chance of rainfall for tonight into Saturday, but Sunday and on looking pretty dry for North Mississippi. Looking at the next 24, I'm covering up most of the action that's happening. Those rain chances will continue into our morning for Saturday. You can see that's our highest chances of rainfall around 6 a.m., 9 a.m. around 50%. But as we continue into our afternoon and into our college football forecast, we're starting to get a little bit drier. So definitely the part of the forecast we're going to want to cross our fingers for, return to those drier conditions. But our main activity and main event will be in our early morning, mid-morning, even late morning for our Saturday. So just something.
Up here's where your biggest risks hide: leaks, mold, and expensive damage. Most commercial roofs fail slowly until they fail big. Why rip it off when you can restore it? Our silicone coatings stop leaks, prevent mold, and extend your roof life without the high replacement cost. It's a 30-year watertight roof, energy efficient, leak-free, and half the cost of replacement. And it's backed by GE's manufacturer warranties. Facility managers love this. No disruption, no tear off, and long-term protection for your property. Trust Absolute Restoration for your commercial roof.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Caleb Edelblut.
Well, I'm so sorry for that abrupt pause, but I am so glad that y'all still stuck here with us at Mississippi Live Weather at 5. Taking a look at one of our cams provided by the North Mississippi Storm Chasers. This is a look out of the beautiful campus of Starkville. It's been a warm, muggy day, especially as I was out there earlier this morning doing live shots and some homework assignments. You can see that dew point 75 degrees, feels like 99. So it's 88 degrees, but you almost feel like you're in those triple digits. But that cold front coming in today will knock it out. You can even see some tailgate preparation as they prepare for their first home game of the season as they take on Arizona State. It's just whether or not it's going to be a soggy forecast or not, that's what we're going to discuss soon. But first off, we have high school football tonight. That's what's more important. College can wait till tomorrow. High school football, that is what's going on in the next few hours. And the cold front will determine how those games go, whether or not they're super soggy or not that soggy. That just depends on where you are in North Mississippi. But around pregame, you can see already those rain chances staying consistent throughout the entire graphic. 10% by the time we're starting off our Friday night football games, but by halftime, 30% continues into the final snap and the way home. So could be a soggy forecast here and something that Matt and Gabe are going to continue to see out there in Baldwin. Let's join back and see what they're seeing right now out in Baldwin.
We're out here in Baldwin. Of course, we have dry conditions for now, but as you mentioned a little bit ago, severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for this evening. That is going to impact some of our area football games. We're hoping that the one here in Baldwin isn't one. So we had some of the folks asking about that a minute ago. It's definitely a possibility. So rain gear, not necessarily for everybody, but will probably be needed for some. I mentioned that severe thunderstorm watch. It's in effect until midnight tonight. And just kind of an idea of what you should do. Typically in a severe thunderstorm, you will be okay-ish if you have to kind of run over and get into your cars. Always a place where you can also, seek shelter if you need to be, trying to avoid lightning as well. Because clearly when you start talking about the stands at these games, they're metal. Even if it was metal, you're out here in the open. So you have to be thinking ahead on how you would plan and what you would do in those situations as well. Bring in our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, who I'm utilizing in a sports sort of capacity tonight. So obviously big game tonight, Skunk Bowl. See if I can keep the camera somewhat more on both of us there. But yeah, what do you got?
Well, you're talking about dodging lightning. What the real story we need to be dodging are skunks here at the Skunk Bowl, because I'm standing on the sideline where a little over 13 years ago, the skunk ran through the fans, ran through the cheerleaders, and eventually escaped down there into the bleachers under the home side. So that was what happened over 13 years ago. But it's actually the story that happened after. And that was where I believe it was Andrew Lambert, got an 85-yard pick six for the Boonville Blue Devils that allowed them to win the game in the fourth quarter once the skunk and the madness all calmed down. So that was what happened 13 years ago. And now 13 years later, things are still enticing, because the Skunk Bowl, after nearly 98 years of the rivalry, is even at 35-35-3. Both teams evened at 35 wins. The winner tonight breaks that tie and takes the series lead and the bragging rights that come with it. So we are so excited for the game tonight. Unfortunately, we're not excited for the forecast, and that's where things need to calm down just a bit as we head with that severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect until midnight this evening.
Absolutely. So that's one of the things, of course, we're tracking coming up here in a few minutes. But a number of other games we're watching across North Mississippi, and a new member here adding to our Mississippi Alive sports team. That'd be our Will Kohlmeyer, who's featuring a game a little farther south. Will?
Well, joining me down in the Shannon area is Will Kohlmeyer. And Will, it's a hot day for football, but everyone's ready.
It is a very warm day. It's cooking with some serious oil, no doubt. But yes, so excited. And first of all, just thank you for inviting me to be a part of your team on Friday nights, talking high school football all season long, and maybe some other days during the week as well. But yes, I am in Shannon. There's some other games that were kind of piqued our curiosity, including down the road on 45. How about Starkville at West Point? That rivalry never disappears. But I'm here in Shannon. The mighty Wildcats from Winston County are in town, Louisville. And of course, you talk about high school football in Mississippi. You talk quickly, the school Louisville comes up, right? 12 state titles, second most in the whole state, only one behind West Point, a team that knocked them off 9-7 in game one of the season. Tonight, taking on Ken Tops and his Shannon Red Raiders. Of course, just being back here at Shannon High School brings back so many great memories of those Romero Miller teams. Remember, they had Jamie Armstrong, an outstanding receiver who also played later on at Ole Miss. So, and this is a team, Shannon, that won their opener, and they almost played Louisville last year in the playoffs. We'll talk more about that at 6 o'clock. But that win last year, they had a playoff win for the first time in 14 years. So that is a great step going forward for Shannon. And we'll see if they can pull off a big upset here tonight against Louisville.
Okay, so I mean, a lot of big games going on out there. Of course, also the Skunk Bowl up here in the Baldwin area. Who do you think is going to win this one up here?
I tell you what, you talk about rivalries. I mean, how do you beat a Skunk Bowl? The 74th annual renewal of that rivalry. Baldwin won the state title last year. That was in 1A. So this year they're in 2A. So we'll see what they can do against Boonville. Boonville didn't show their best last week against North Pontotoc. They're looking to bounce back. And Baldwin at home, I'll give Baldwin the nervous nod at home in that one.
Okay, now speaking of some picks here, let's talk about college football. Of course, our preview of tomorrow. What do you got going on in the SEC?
Well, let's start in the afternoon. First game of the day for Mississippi schools. It's Ole Miss, the nationally ranked Rebels, up in the Bluegrass State taking on Kentucky. And of course, Matt, Rebel fans would like to forget about last year's game in Oxford against Kentucky. That was a devastating loss and arguably kept Ole Miss out of the college football playoff. This year, different team. And I think they'll be ready. They're favored a little over a touchdown. It was almost 2 touchdowns earlier this week. And Lane Kiffin talked about it earlier this week about it seems like every year, even before he came to Ole Miss, these games are tight. I like Ole Miss winning this one in the afternoon up in Lexington. And then we come back down here to North Mississippi. Stark Vegas, the place to be for nationally ranked Arizona State in town to take on Mississippi State. Remember last year, it was all Arizona State out in Tempe in the first half. They were blowing out the Bulldogs, but a great comeback in the second half by Jeff Levy and company. They fall just a touchdown short. Tomorrow night, one of the keys is that got to stop Sam Levitt, the quarterback for Arizona State. He is terrific. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his legs. I think if the defense can play the way they did at times last week and keep Levitt corralled, I'm thinking upset. I like Mississippi State in that one. And then there's Alabama. Alabama fans have been reeling all week after that loss down in Tallahassee. Florida State hurt their feelings last weekend. They won't get their feelings hurt tomorrow night. For ULM, the Warhawks are going to walk into a hornet's nest tomorrow night down in Tuscaloosa. It's all Alabama in that one. And I've got my fingers crossed as well, Matt, that the weather will cooperate for all three of these games tomorrow.
We're hoping as much as well. Of course, we'll look at that forecast here in a second. Just one last question. Do you think Alabama scores more or less than 60 points as their home opener?
It's a good question, Matt. I think they can name the score. I mean, I'm surprised if DeBoer even fed them this week. They are going to be locked and loaded. They are going to be primed, and they're going to be looking forward to cause some damage tomorrow night, which I think they will. If they want to score 60, they'll score 60.
Absolutely. It's our Will Kohlmeyer and Shannon this evening. Thank you so much. We'll see you back at 6 o'clock. And then speaking about that SEC football forecast, here's Caleb.
Well, thank you so much for giving that in-depth look. I need those refreshers for those high school games going on and definitely college football games going on. I love the pick you picked for Mississippi State. I would love to see that happen. Speaking of, you can see out here, Mississippi State versus Arizona State. We have those rain chances coming in tonight and into our morning, but as of right now, we're starting off the game dry, and we're going to try to see that conditions continue into the rest. So first play, 76 degrees. So that cold front cooling us off. Beautiful football weather conditions. Halftime 71. And then by the time we're walking home, driving home, post-game traffic, 68 degrees, hopefully with the wind. So should be a good game out there in Starkville and in Davis Wade Stadium. Taking a look out here for Alabama versus UL Monroe. They had that loss against Florida State, but they are looking to bounce back in a big way, especially playing in Tuscaloosa for their home opener as well. You can see a little bit soggy start to your forecast for the game, just that cold front moving in a little bit later since y'all are out in Tuscaloosa and in Alabama. But those dry conditions should start to replace those soggier conditions by halftime and into the final snap and post game. 75 degrees by halftime, 73 on the way home once you finish off that game. Now, for our Ole Miss forecast, y'all have the coolest weather, and also what I noticed is this is an afternoon game, so this isn't even in the evening time frame. 65, could see a little soggy of a start as well, but those dry conditions will pretty much start dominating the forecast with those perfect conditions. 67 degrees by halftime, and then 68 by the final snap. Not changing much, just going up just a little slight degree at a time, but perfect football weather is in the forecast for us tomorrow, no matter if you're in North Mississippi, Alabama, or even in Kentucky. But look at our day planner back for North Mississippi. We're staying dry as of now for North Mississippi. We're starting to see some of those cells start to pop up, but by the time we're getting towards 9 o'clock into midnight, that chance starts to skyrocket, seeing 30%, and you can see those chances maybe even bump up a little bit as I'm working behind the scenes between 5, 6, and the 10 on what that front looks like, and if it's still just a little bit ahead of schedule from what those models are projecting. Looking at those models, that Futurecast showing where those cells are pretty much popping up. This is showing an accurate model as of right now, showing that it's keeping it more in Tennessee, but still clipping North Mississippi, especially in Tippah County, and heading towards Corinth as well. This is at 6:30, so maybe a little bit behind schedule. That's something I keep mentioning, just showing that this is a little bit ahead of schedule, but you can see those storms already starting to pop up pretty much right now, so something to keep in mind. But those showers will start to build up, especially as we go into the rest of our evening. By the time we're wrapping up those Friday night football games, it could be a soggy wrap up, rain delays, canceling games, just something to keep in mind here. You see it kind of blows up. This is prefrontal activity. This is not the actual front kind of making its way through with all those rain chances. It's still just kind of entering North Mississippi. This is stuff that is happening ahead of the front and something that we're going to continue monitoring. So could be a few storms by the 10 o'clock broadcast, but maybe even by 9 if this model continues to stay a little bit ahead. I'm going to move out of the action that's taking place. These storms will continue, especially down into West Point, the Golden Triangle region. A little heavy at times, some strong isolated thunderstorms, potentially severe. But like I mentioned earlier, this is primarily a wind threat, a hail threat, not really looking more towards a tornado threat that's more north of us, but even those chances remain very slim and something that we like to see here in North Mississippi. Now, that cold front will continue moving into our area, and we see those dry conditions But there we go. I mean, I'm covering it up again. I just got to keep going back and forth just with how action-packed this forecast is. That line will start moving into North Mississippi around 6 in the morning. So like I mentioned earlier, you might have an alarm clock set without you realizing it for your Saturday morning. Could hear a lot of rumbles of thunder depending on how energetic these storms are. So something we're going to continue monitoring here as that cold front moves through. But our lows, that is the plus with this cold front moving through. You can see where it is or how far across North Mississippi it's gone. South Haven, 62 for pretty much Senatobia, South Haven, and Tunica. But down here in the farther part of our viewing area, 71, Macon, Aliceville. So almost a 10-degree difference, but still cool start nonetheless. We can see that cold front already working its magic for those out there in the northwestern part of our viewing area. So should be a beautiful start. We just got to get through those showers as well. You can see that band of moisture and that line of storms going to start making its way through our area. This is at 6 in the morning, and it's going to continue pushing, becoming a little bit more disorganized by the time we get into mid-morning, not as well structured, so showing that collapse. Probably not expecting as severe weather later on. But still, the possibility remains into the morning, mid-morning, and maybe even the start of the afternoon. That rain showers chances continue into lunchtime. This is at 12:30, showing widespread coverage, but that northerly flow coming back in the forecast, that will keep us dry. So maybe not as confident on these. Those rain chances will start to fade on out as we continue into the rest of the day. I wanted to pause it right here. This is at 2:30 for Starkville and the Golden Triangle region, and y'all have the home opener. So I know we're going to want to be tailgating and hanging out for our Saturday. Just keep those plans ready to either move inside, move under a tent, cancel. I don't go that far yet. Y'all have to root on the dogs, but just something to keep in mind that those afternoon showers can continue into pretty much the afternoon. But those dry conditions, that is what we're going to be crossing our fingers for, especially for those out in Starkville watching the game. Some pockets of moisture still trying to make a push, but that northerly flow will be more dominant, and I'm expecting some drier conditions into the evening for our Saturday. High temperatures, that will be a story for all of us still, but still an amazing story. Pretty much the same thing with the lows. You can see lower highs up here in the northwestern part of our viewing area, 77 in South Haven, 78 in Senatobia and Tunica. But down here in Aliceville and Macon, 84 degrees, 84 Columbus, Starkville, 81. So not as muggy on campus as it was today. Will it be for tomorrow? So still beautiful forecast. Just got to get through those showers first. Heat indices, a little bit more important in my opinion. We're actually feeling like we're in the 70s for pretty much most of our viewing area. Aliceville, just a rogue one coming in at 87. You're going to get your chance. I promise that cold front will continue moving on through, and you'll see some more favorable conditions overnight. But look at the park planner. I show this on the weekends, but showing that there's a little bit more action to this park planner for our Saturday morning and into the afternoon. 50% of chance of showers across North Mississippi, so not the best time to go to the park, even into your lunchtime and maybe afternoon. You can start escaping those showers, but the evening will be the perfect time to go out to the park. You get dry conditions and pretty much the coolest conditions besides the start of your morning. 74 degrees should be beautiful by the time you wrap up your Saturday. But coming back to Futurecast, I'm expecting these drier conditions for our atmosphere at 6 o'clock, so it's showing not that much moisture for North Mississippi. This is what I expect to see and what I know we're all wanting to see for our college football forecast. You can see that moisture will pretty much even start to get pushed out of our area. That northerly flow coming back into the forecast being the dominant force for us in North Mississippi. That's just going to kind of push out the cloud cover and that activity. There's nothing much to talk about into our Saturday and Sunday as well. By the time we're walking out of the door for our Sunday morning, picture perfect conditions will continue. And then we can see little to no cloud cover for our Sunday, just showing that rain is pretty much all we're getting overnight and into Saturday. And then we're returning back to those dry conditions. Not much to talk about except all those winds, barbs and arrows just coming in from the north, pumping in that dry, continental, cooler air. It's not cold, but it's cooler than those 96, those humidity values that we've been feeling earlier today. And that continues into the rest of your Sunday. Some clouds trying to pop up, not really needing them because of those cooler temperatures, into the rest of your Sunday evening as well, and into your early Monday morning hours. So this is the start of our weekend. It's going to be the most action-packed, but we should see beautiful, calm conditions continue into the rest. You can see high temperatures even more improved for our Sunday, pretty much mid-80s across the viewing area. You can see 79 coming in for Red Bay. Those heat indices still sitting perfect. A little bit more increase with those upper 80s. That's because of that, or not upper 80s, excuse me, those upper 70s, low 80s. But that cold front kind of affecting us for our Saturday, and then Sunday and on, we're just going to start ticking up with those highs just a little bit. So that's why we're sitting pretty much around average. I can show you here with this graphic showing we're going from 96 today with those humid temperatures dropping to 80 for our Sunday and slowly working our way back up into those 90s. but still nothing we like to see, especially as we're officially in the burr months. I don't know if we would call September that yet, but it does show a steady increase of those temperatures. We're not really below average for the next week, but something to continue monitoring here. Those rain chances, you can see Saturday is the standout chance for those rain chances. 80 degrees, 68 for our low. But as we continue into the work week, I'll move this way. 59, 56, 59 for our early start of the work week. So we are in that season where we're walking out of the door with maybe a hoodie and some sweatpants on, but definitely wanting to take that hoodie off later just with how warm it'll get. You can see 87, 89, pushing into the 90s by the time we are wrapping up our work week and heading into the next weekend. So that warming trend will be pretty dominant for our forecast, but like I mentioned, the most action that is happening for our weekend is tonight, and no better way to continue to stay updated than with the iOS and Android app. It will continue to send you alerts. It still has those graphics out for you to check these temperatures, the outlooks, everything that you need in the palm of your hand. And of course, we're going to continue to stay live here tonight. I'll keep my eyes behind the scenes, updating all the values. I know Chief Meteorologist Matt Laubon and Meteorologist Gabe Maynor out in the field, seeing it in person as well. So we will be live tonight at 6 and 10, which the 6 o'clock will be coming up in a little bit less than half an hour. So we'll be back here possibly with some more updated chances. But of course, we'll be here live tonight at 6. Can't wait to see y'all there.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Your family deserves the most beautiful smile possible. At Tupelo Smiles, we use precision dentistry and advanced technology to make visiting the dentist an amazing experience. Relationship-based comprehensive care. Come discover the difference at Tupelo Smiles.